I say there is no conservative party in America. The Democratic Party is much more conservative on trade than Republican Party now. With the pro-tariffs party, we're the party that freaks out over 5 city-owned grocery stores that hadn't even opened in New York, right. And then nationalize Intel. And we're the party that wants to control what media owns what media. That's sort of classic Soviet tactic. It's just
government taking over any part of a company is something that you see Putin's done a lot of, and it's worked out really well for him, for Putin and his friends, but not for anybody else.
Just sort of what's happening here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a fascinating question, Joe. I mean, another whole mini conversations, but how does America ever get back to having a sane center-right party? How will that happen?
Look, the first step is a massive turnout of stop this crap people, mm-hmm. Republicans, independents, Democrats, and anybody who just. I mean, it's got to be so big that he can't steal it. He can't. That any crap he pulls won't work. And then, I don't know. It may be a new party. I don't know, Stu.
Let me just roll this idea that, I think about sometimes. There is an ideological fight inside the Democratic Party,
right?
Which I think is very healthy. The fact that there's not an ideological fight inside the Republican Party is very unhealthy.
Right, exactly.
I mean, it's not that long ago that there were more Republican governors who were pro-choice than anti-abortion. And that's changed now. But I could foresee, people say we need a third party, and I sometimes make the case to be provocative, but I sort of believe it, that maybe there are 3 parties in America, and 2 are inside the Democratic Party. Both of them thriving. Both of them have very valid points. Both of them seem to be, for their constituents, very popular. The mayor of New York is very popular. He's done a great job. And is it conceivable that the way this plays out is that the Democratic Party really becomes the dominant party in America with 2 different factions? And that maybe at some point they split and they call each other one thing, one becomes the Democratic Party, one becomes I don't know.
I think that's exactly, I think what's going to happen here is Democrats take the House, because I think we're going to take the House.
Yep.
And I still think there's a real shot at taking the Senate.
Yep.
I think what's going to happen is you're going to be able to see that a Democratic majority can negotiate with it within itself and get things done for people.
Right.
In other words, we can whether I don't care if you're for Democratic Socialists or not, or for the more conservative wing of the Democratic Party or middle wing of the Democratic Party, those 2 groups can actually talk to each other, actually get things done on behalf of constituents that lowers prices, that impacts their lives. You cannot this is what made Schumer not the right leader for our time, because you cannot negotiate with anybody on the Republican side with Trump. And so that's what a lot of the leadership was groomed to do. But I think when we win, the people are going to see the multiple wings in the Democratic Party that actually can talk to each other, actually can negotiate, compromise, find a middle ground between them that works, that gets things done, and leaves the Republicans out there. I mean, the Republican office holders still beholden for another 2.5 years to dear leader, leaves them, as still just nothing but obstructionist. You look at what's going on around the country on so many different issues right now. There's going to be a debate about Israel and Gaza and all. And yes, between the 2 wings or the 2 differences in the party, but they will find the ground to that I think will be real policy that can work. That's not going to happen by talking to to Wicker or anybody else in the Republican Party. They're like, there's nobody to talk to over there. And so maybe that does what you're saying. Eventually, maybe now does that end up with some moderate Republicans coming into that a really big tent party that is a majority that negotiates with itself and makes things happen, or is there eventually a split? But I don't know the answer.
There is a role of demographics to play in this. Probably demographics aren't destiny until they are destiny, and they are destiny if you don't change. It occurred to me, and this is one of these sort of incredibly obvious things, like, every person walking the planet has a mother and a father, but no Republican, I bet since World War II, has been elected without a majority of the white vote at any level. I mean, I'm talking mayor. Maybe I think there was a Republican city councilman in DC once. Maybe she did. She went to Middlebury. She may have gotten enough votes. But it's a white party in a country that is becoming a minority-majority party. And I say again, it's the greatest failure as Republicans, in my view, that we had, and we failed at this, was not being able to expand, particularly with African Americans. Ever since Goldwater got 7%. I don't see, at least in Bush world, we thought that was a failure. And Ken Mehlman, who was chairman of the party in 2005, went before the NAACP and apologized for the Southern strategy. Now, with the Republican Party, they just trying to make it whiter as they try to make America whiter.
No, and if you're South Africans, if you're an Afrikaner, you're welcome. Welcome is out.
South African Boer, yes.
Yeah. It's just That's Trump, I think, and Stephen Miller obviously has gone all out to make sure that it's an all-white party. In fact, so far, I mean, that's what's so interesting between the first and second terms is, he actually had gained some support with blacks and Latino men. A little bit. A little bit. And then, but with mass deportations, I mean, there's so many different things. Gas prices, everything.
You couldn't sustain the MAGAs that wanted this army of masked men without body armors but wanted automatic weapons, chasing gardeners through Brentwood and shooting people in the face, and support from the people they were chasing, relatives. That was never going to work.